I have my phone here. Avi, I have my phone, just in case. Today's shir is sponsored by Isaac Zafir. He just recently sponsored another shir, and for the same thing. I do not have a reason for sponsoring other than being a grateful student of Rav Eli and the Chabura on YouTube. You hear? Gershon, you hear? Seltzer boys, you have students. It says here, Mefurish. Them being a grateful student of Rav Eli and the Chabura. I guess the whole Chabura. It's not just it didn't say the stat. He's a student of the whole Chabura. Please dedicate this donation in the schus of Rav Eli and the Chabura. So you guys have a schus. P.S. Rav Eli mentioned that miracles occur for those who donate and support Torah, and especially the Americans Daf Yomi. So I'll let you know what happens. Sincerely, Isaac. Listen. If something happens, you can't just let us know. You got to double it up, triple it up, right? It's not just, oh, by the way, I had a big nace that happened. Okay, Isaac Zafir for Rockaway, New York, Yishkoyach. Instead of email, I have two beautiful pictures. I thought it was a tremendous coincidence. There's a guy that just started on Zoom, really. His name is Moshe Hamburg, and he came a couple of times. Here he is. He's with us today. And he sent me a picture of him camping. And if you look closely, he has a Gemara open. Somebody caught a good picture of him learning. Great. So that's one thing. That's a beautiful thing. He went camping the other day. And then, all of a sudden, Israel Davis, I don't know if you guys know him. You don't know Israel? He usually comes at night, to the night shir. He sends me yesterday also a picture of him camping, a tent, and he's learning with the video, with the Gemara and everything, and it says on the bottom like this: first time during a camping trip, not missing the Yomi. That's what the Daf Yomi is all about, Rabbi Isai. Exactly that. First time that he went on he told me this, that is the first time he went on a camping trip that he actually brought a sefer along and opened up the sefer and learned. And the first day, Brachas Daf Beis, in the Hagdama to Shas, that's what I was saying. One of the things I was saying is that if you travel in the U.S., for instance, you travel domestically, and occasionally you bump into a guy learning, 98% of the time it's going to be a guy that's learning the daf. That's how, I don't know, I didn't do like real stuff, but that's how it was for me. You typically don't see a guy learning lumdus on the plane, bringing his Reb Chaim, Baruch Ber, and all his achroinim and stuff, and opening up Sfarim. It's the guy with the art scroll doing the daf. Because of the Yomi. The guy going on a camping trip, doing the daf. Amazing. These two pictures, Nachama, we have Moshe Hamburg and Israel Davis, all two pictures sent to me on the same day. And this looks sincere. You know, they both look sincere here. Like, they look into it, not knowing that their wives are taking pictures. And it's unbelievable. That's the beauty of the Daf Yomi. As a Maila, I'm not putting down Chas Shalom Lamdus and Halach Lamaisa and all these things, but I just never seen a guy come with his Shulchan Aruch and the tour and trying to figure out Halach Lamaisa while he's waiting for his flight, and then he gets on the plane. I just never seen it. All I see. So maybe you're going to say, because the Lumden, they stay in Lakewood and whatever, and it's the Balabatim travel. Fine, I get it. But at the end of the day, the guy at the Chasana with the Gemara is usually that guy that's trying to... I
was once on a plane next to a dying from the Dats.
Yeah. Even the dying from the B'dats was learning the daf. So I was, very interesting, I was once, this is years ago, I was once in an airport, and I was learning. I'm talking about like 20 years ago, maybe. I was learning. All of a sudden I hear a woman next to me. She goes, "Ta, you're not going to believe this. A guy next to me," and she's like trying to whisper, "a guy next to me is learning from your Gemara." I'm like, "Who are you?" She goes, "I'm Zlatowitz." Something like this. Like she was, like, I'm learning from her father's art scroll. It's like she was all in the spell that somebody was in the airport learning. Fine. Anyway, we're holding on Daf Tzadik Gimel and Beis by the Mishnah.
No, they just can't have that volume, right?
Huh?
I just can't have that volume.
Like she was holding cup. Which volume? Like it was Menachos volume 3. Shichab. Okay. No, but it's her father's thing. No, it's. I guess we take it for granted. We're all learning the art school. She was the first time in the airport that she saw another. Yeah. All right. Zok the Mishnah. Daf Tzadik Gimel Amud Beis on the bottom. Hamoitzi oichlin pachos mikashir bekli. So there's many different shiurim, but we'll just grab the typical shiur of a gregeres. A person takes out less than a gregeres of food in a vessel, in a kli. Potter afala kli. This is amazing chiddush. So not only are you potter for taking out the food because it's not the right amount, but you're also potter for the kli itself. The kli itself, if the kli was without food, you'd be chayiv. But since the kli is there to hold the food, the kli becomes bottle to the food, and the food is nothing, the kli is nothing, and you are potter. Rabbi say, I don't know about you, but I'm literally enjoying every single day. It's just so amazing, the lumdas and the every day, new chidushim, new concepts that we haven't had. It's just amazing, it's beautiful. I don't know what, just people gave Shabbos a bad rap. B'Shabbos, b'menucha. No, it's unbelievable. Look at this. We're going to be learning just today alone concepts like each one would take months in the yeshiva, and we fly through it. Esachai b'mita potter afalamita. So this is the big. What? Yeah, I said. Yeah, you were busy writing. But I'll say it for you again. Potter afala kli shakli tfeilaloi. Because the kli is tuffle to it. Esachai b'mito. If you take a live person, carry him on a bed, potter af alamito. What is going on here? So this is the famous concept. A lot of people are familiar with this. Chai noises atzmoi. A live person carries himself. What exactly that means, I can't sit here and tell you that I understand it 100%. But it's the point I believe is, I spoke to some people that they literally believe that a dead person weighs more, and I said it's not possible scientifically. How does a dead person all of a sudden gain weight? It just seems like from everybody else that I see, from Rashi, it's a question of balance and center of gravity, and a person that's alive helps you carry him. He helps you carry him. So instead of it being a dead weight, literally like 100 pounds, the way he positions himself, it takes off from the weight. That taking off the weight makes you potter, and therefore, afalamito, even the bed that you're carrying with, is you're potter on that, even though if you carry a bed into Rosh Hashanah, you'd be chayiv, shamito tfeilaloi, because the bed is tuffle to him. I just want to point out a Tosfos on Daf Tzadik Dalet Amud Aleph. Tosfos asks a bomb question here. According to Rashi, that the live person assists in carrying himself, so why in the world would you be potter? Since when, if you carry less weight, are you potter from going to Rosh Hashanah? And even if we're going to say what we said yesterday, that it's zeh yachal, v'zeh ene yachal, that one guy is capable of carrying, he's very strong, he can carry the live person, and the other person is assisting, he's ene yachal, so he's the live person being carried, he assists a little bit, and he takes off 5 pounds from his body weight, but l'kula alma, the guy that's yachal is chayiv. That's what we said yesterday. Everybody agrees that the guy that carries most of the weight is chayiv. That's Tosfos Kasha, therefore he has a different pshat, that's not what they did in the Beis HaMikdash. They never carried a live person, they never carried live animals, says Tosfos. All the animals that they had either walked on their own, there's only 2 other animals, the tachash and whatever, the goat, and the tchelas, the snail, they killed right away. They never had to carry a live animal. And therefore, but I just saw a beautiful Reb Chaim, because we're talking about lumdus. I just thought it was nice, the way he said it, I thought it was great. Again, I'm not going to claim that I understand 100% what he was saying, but basically what he's saying is that in the case of Zeh Yachal, Zein Yachal, it's 2 people carrying an object. Over here, the object is carrying itself. That's a chesaron in the malacha. That's not how you carry something. You don't carry something where the thing carries itself. You always carry dead objects, things. So, anyways, that was his, I thought it was interesting how he pointed that nekuda out, that typically you're carrying something else, and over here, something else is carrying itself, and that makes a chesaron in the malacha. Fine.
Does that mean that a child who's able to walk, you're allowed to put him on your shoulders on
Well, that's the sugya of Chai Noises Atzmai. But this seems to be like the makar right here in this Mishnah of Chai Noises Atzmai. But
To a person carrying himself is that if you drop them, what happens? If you drop the dead person just goes. If you drop the live person,
Yeah.
he'll try to catch himself.
But how does it help? I don't understand. Like we have to.
In the biyach,
Like two people carrying.
Right. What I've said. It's two people carrying. Zeh yachal, zeh yachal. The guy that's being carried, he can't carry himself completely. He could only carry a little bit of himself. Right now, because right now he's zeh yachal. He's in the ear. That's according to Tosfos with the one finger.
that would happen.
So what?
If he would fall, he would carry himself completely.
That doesn't matter because right now we said yesterday, if a guy carries with one finger, that's considered any yachal, even though he could carry with his whole hand. Because the way he's doing it right now is with one finger. So just because you put him on the ground, he can carry himself. That means nothing. In the situation right now, he is any yachal because he's being carried in the air. I went on Google and the first thing that popped up was a whole discussion about live weight versus dead weight, and they do say, I mean, a huge thing about balance and gravity and videos and a whole thing that there is a thing called dead weight. The dead body's harder to carry, not heavier, harder to carry than a live person because the way a person positions his center of gravity and he helps and there's such a thing. Fine. Shamitot feiloi. Es hameis b'mita, but if you're going to carry dead weight, literally a dead person, b'mita, chayev. You're chayev on the dead person. V'chein kezayis min hameis, and so too, anything that has a shear. So when it comes to dead person, the shear is a kezayis. Enough to carry a whole mace, enough to be metama. So it's kezayis. Ukezayis min hanavela. How much of a nevela is metama? A kezayis. Uchadashim min hasheretz. How much is metama from a sheretz, from a rat? Adash, a lentil, chayiv. Reb Shimon poiter. So in one Mishnah, I mean, literally, it's crazy, but we're Daf Yomi, and I haven't used my, I coined the phrase a long time ago, and I haven't used it in a long time, but basically the phrase is, don't ever let the daf get in the way of the pshat. So basically, these are very tough musagim, and we could sit here and discuss them for a long time, but we discussed this all the way in the beginning of the Sel, we discussed it a few times. This is the concept of melacha shein tzrich legufa. What does it mean? According to Rashi, melacha shein tzrich legufa, melacha shein tzricha, that doesn't need for itself. The translation of the article is a labor not needed for its defined purpose. That's a beautiful translation. Defined purpose. Meaning, according to Rashi, the melacha has to be something that's a positive. It's creative. You do something, I'm creating flour, I'm creating bread, I'm doing something positive. Whereas if I take a dead person out of my house, I'm not doing anything creative. I'm getting rid of a problem that I have. I have a stench in my house, I'm pushing it outside. That's not creative. That's not positive. So I don't want this issue. So that's malacha shein tzricha legufa. For who? For the man? No, it's not for you. What is it for you? What has it done for you? Yeah.
And if they want to take care of that person, it's covered away, it's positive.
They'd rather not have the problem to begin with. They'd rather not have a dead person.
Once they do, then there's
Okay, so that, fine. Here's another shiloh. Okay, I'll give you an example. So you tell me this. What do you think about this? Cutting your hair on Shabbos, getting rid of your hair. You have long hair, you're getting rid of hair. Is that a malacha shetzrich legufa or ein tzrich legufa? Is that a positive or just I have an issue and I'm getting rid of the issue? What do you say? That you understand getting rid of the issue, but not this. Okay, fine.
The person who's died, he's the person you have to take care of. We all understand.
Fine.
Yeah, it's a vision of doing with the show.
But it's not because of the mace. You're taking him out because of the smell. Depends why you're taking him out.
Let's say the guy just died. It's not a smell.
No, you have to know what the reason is. You're right. If that's the reason, let's say the reason is because you don't want to become tamei from the mace. You don't want to become tamei. He's in your way. Right. Exactly. So it's all in what the issue is. Hair and nails, we're going to see, is considered, and it's according to Tosfos at least, it's melacha shein tzrich legufa. Yes, it's good for you not to have the hair, but you rather not even have the hair. So so the fact that you're cutting the hairs, you're getting rid of a problem. You're solving a problem. You're not being creative. You're not adding hair to your head. That would be melacha shein tzrich legufa. You're taking hair off your head and throwing it in the garbage. Melacha shein tzrich legufa.
We call it off on itself. You take something out, but when I say we're not talking about itself, usually with meat where you bring it to. So
Right.
The two, you don't need it there, you just need it out here.
Exactly. Very good. That was saying very good. In the Beis Hamikdash, and that will even hurt you what you're saying. I needed the beams of the Beis Hamikdash. I needed brought from my wagon over here. I need it over here. I don't need the dead person over here. I just don't need him in my house. I don't want him in my house. That's different. Now, if I was bringing him into a grave, maybe you're right, but why is he bringing him into the Rosh Hashanah? He's shoving him out of the house. It's not, I want him over here. I don't want him over here. Fine. Anyway, that's the svar here. That's what I said. You could sit here and discuss it and understand it, and you're supposed to. But we got to go weiter. Fine. Reb Shimon Poiter, that's what we're saying. Reb Shimon holds it's malacha shein tzrich lagufa, and therefore you're potter. Torah Rabbanon, hamoitzi oichlin kishiur. If you do take out the right amount, in bechli chayav la'achlim upater kli. If you take a gregaris of food in a vessel, yeah, like here, I have a little bit of water, or whatever, the revis of water, take it outside. I'm chayav for the water, not chayav for the kli. The kli is tafel, we said, to the food. Now, if I need this cup outside in Rosh Hashanah for another purpose, because I want to trap something, I want to do something with the cup, so now the cup has nothing to do with the water, so now I'm chayav for the kli also. Ask the Gemara, it's really more of a kasha than a statement. According to what you're telling me is it's possible to be over two melachas in 1 second, in one shot, like eating 2 pieces of nevela. Now we all know, for the most part, that if you eat 2 pieces of nevela behelam echad in one awareness, you only chayiv 1. Whoever thought that you chayiv 2? There's one shita maybe. So in this case, I'm doing 2 melachas. I'm taking out a kli and food. What's the difference between the kli and the food? I'm taking out 2 items, and all of a sudden you're going to be mechayiv me on 2 items. That's what it says here. I'm chayiv for the food. I'm chayiv for the kli. That hardly makes sense. Shema mina oichel shnei zeisi chelav behelam echol chayiv shtayim. Omer Rav Sheshes, you're right. We have to explain it better. Hachem ha'eskinon, we're holding Daf Tzadik Dalon and Aleph kigoin. What happened was there was a shogig on the food, meaning, we're going to break it up. He's not chayiv 2 chatois on 2 similar melachas. He's going to be chayiv 1 chatos and one misa. Okay, he's going to be chayiv either kara, skila, whatever he's chayiv. But they're different. So it's different. So once it's different, you can be chayiv 2. If they're the same, you're right. They're not chayiv. You can't be chayiv 2 of the same thing. Just to point out real quickly, the Rishonim, the Rashba, they ask a bomb question here. The only way you're chayiv a chatos is if you found out that what you're doing is also, you'd stop. Oh, I made a mistake. That's a chatos. But over here, this guy is doing amazing. He's amazing on the kli. He says, I don't care about Shabbos. I'm taking the kli out into the Rosh Hashanah. I just don't know. I never chapped that food you're not allowed to take out into Rosh Hashanah. No, but if somebody said food you're not allowed to take into Rosh Hashanah, the same shegitz is going to say, I don't care. He doesn't care about the kli, so why would he care about the food? So it's a good chap. It's a good kasha. Maskiv lo Rav Ashi va'af ala kli katani. But from the lashon of af ala kli, he's chayiv even. For the kli, it seems like it's the same exact isser. They're both shoygig, they're both mazid, whatever, but this is the same. Elam Rav Ashi, kegoin sheshogeg b'zeh b'zeh. Says Rav Ashi, you're right. Af is a great lashon, it means they're both the same. And you're right, there were 2 shoygigs. So then why is it different than eating 2 pieces of chaylev? V'noidaloi v'choyze v'noidaloi ubeplukta the Rabbi Yochanan of Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish we had in the beginning of Masechta, or we had earlier on, not the beginning of Masechta, but the big machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Lakish, if somebody did 2 shaygigs in a row, and then in one awareness, and then he found out about shaygig number 1. And he went and he brought a carbon. Is that mechaper on shaygig number 2, or because the awareness was later on, it's a different awareness? If it was one awareness, he found out after he did both averis, so he brings 1 carbon for both. But over here, he forgot in the middle. We actually had in the Tzadik, I don't know if you remember, the Taisus over there that explains the Kupas HaRoichlin, that when it comes to food, you cannot be mechalik with awareness. Even if you bring a carbon in between 2 bags of tea, and you found out on the second bag of tea later on, that 1 carbon works on the second bag of tea. But a kli and food, that's different. Then I could be mechalik. I could say, I found out that I was over Isser by mistake on Shabbos on the kli. I brought a carbon, great. Now, 2 days later, somebody said, and by the way, what about What about the coffee in the kli? Oi, I forgot to bring a carbon of that. Do I have to bring a second carbon or not? Machlokes Rabbi Yochanan and Shlakish. So each one is going to grab. If you hold like Rabbi Yochanan, the Yichayiv 2, then you're going to say that that's the pshat over here, the Yichayiv 2. If you're going to say like Rish Lakish, that you only Chayiv 1, so you can't say that pshat. So you have to say one of the other pshatim over here. Says the Gemara, it's a Chayiv b'mito potra afal mito. You're carrying a live person in a bed. You potter on the bed. Big chiddush, right? That the bed is tafel, this massive bed, weighs 300 pounds. You potter on the bed. Why? Because the bed is for the person that's on the bed. And the person on the bed you potter because he carries himself. No. It's a chai. Chai, a live person on a bed, you potter on the bed, and you potter on the person. The person carries himself. And the bed is only, what's the right word? Subordinate. How do you say tafel? Subservient. But kids, it's bottle. The only reason you're carrying the bed is to carry the person. So that is already, we don't care about the bed. And what? Secondary, beautiful, secondary. Who says that? The art scroll? Secondary. He just dissed everybody in this room. All 30 of you. He just said you guys don't speak. Me, I'm Panovich. Rabbi, you're not going to believe this. My chavrusa, he just made a shidduch. Yedidi Kramer made a shidduch. His daughter got engaged. To who? To Rabbi V'ezer Piltz's grandson. Rabbi V'ezer's son, I learned in Tifrach when I was 10 years old. Rabbi V'ezer's son is the father of the chassan. He showed, he goes, Eli Stefansky, you? That wild kid, that 10-year-old. He remembered everything. He was telling me stories. I couldn't believe it. 35 years ago. It's crazy. So it's a small little world. But yeah, how did that happen? Oh, because English, yeah. You can't blame me. I went to Tifrach, to Panovich. I have all the excuses. But what's your excuse, says Avi? Secondary.
I was in front of a computer screen. I would also do it.
He said you cheated. He said you got it from the computer. All right. You're sticking with yours? What's the one? No, incidental is an action, no? Secondary is the object is secondary. I like it. It's a great law. You understand much better now, right? The bed is secondary to the person. We don't view the bed. Now, the person is potter. So now all of a sudden it happens that you're carrying this 200-pound bed and you're completely potter. Hi, Zoomers. It's always the same guys. I don't get to the new guys because the originals always chap. They sit, Eli Dykman, he's all what, and Yael Bergman, they're on the top because they come an hour before. And Yaakov Rosedale, who used to be on the top line, he's nowhere to be found. Fine. What? Yeah, we got to go right there.
The wedding from the...
Oh, the first shidduch. That's right, it's today. Ari Rosenstein and Chef and whatever, but you're all invited on Zoom. Something, no? It's what? Oh, it's a live stream. It's not even on Zoom. Chutzpah. He's making one of those cheap weddings on live stream. Can't even afford Zoom. All right.
Once you qualify, you give a welcome to Dr. Mark Bergson. It's a new one. Live.
Oh.
Live on Zoom.
Dr. Whom? Bergson, I heard.
Mark Bergson from Berkeley.
Shalom Aleichem, Doctor. Dr. Bergson, Shalom Aleichem. Welcome. Welcome all the new guys. All right, we got a massive sugya here, so we got to go. This Mishnah of the whole concept of Chai Noisas Atzmo, a live person helps carry himself, is in Reb Nosson. This Anya. If you were to lift a living animal and a bird, bein chayim, bein shchutim chayov, you're chayiv. Reb Nosson oimer, ala shchutim chayav, al chayim potter. He makes a distinction between live and dead, and the only common sense distinction could be shachai noisas atzmoi. Because if you lift a live animal, the live animal is assisting you to carry it. And therefore, you are potter for whatever reason it is. It's not exactly like they did in the Beis HaMikdash. Or Taisa says, mamish, that there was no such thing as carrying a live bird and a live animal. You're not going to carry a sheep. And this tachash animal, that's like a lion, like right? This interesting tiger-looking, we don't know what it is. It doesn't exist anymore. It's beautiful hide, and they put it on the, it's more like it's from the cat family. You certainly didn't come and start petting it and carry this giant thing. You took it in a chain and then whatever. So, but he says, Reb Nosson holds Chai Noises Atzmai, therefore our Mishnah must be going like Reb Nosson, who says the concept of Chai Noises Atzmai. Amar Rava. Secondary, of course he got it from, he's just pretending, of course, Avi. Amar Rava, he's a lawyer, but he knows all these Lashonis. Amar Rava, afilu teimer Rabbanon, al korchach loy pligi Rabbanon alei de Reb Nosson, ele bebei mechayev oiv, the mishar beti nafshayu. Says the Gemara, who told you? Maybe Rabbanon argue Reb Nosson when it comes to an animal. An animal likes to be mishtamed. He likes to jump out of your hand. He squirms around. He's not helping you out to carry him. On that, Rabbanan say, no, that's not true. There's no concept of Chai Noises Atzmai on an animal. Avl Adam Chai, the Noises Atzmai. A typical example, like a baby. He right away puts his head and shoulder. He knows how to wiggle up onto you and make it easier for you. Chai Noises Atzmai. I feel Rabbanan, maybe Rabbanan will agree. Okay, this is a halacha. Literally, we're going through all these concepts one after another, as if like halacha, you're not allowed to sell a behema gasa to a non-Jew because this ox, this donkey might work on Shabbos. You might come to rent it to him. You might work on Shabbos. What's the problem? Whole thing. A horse is different. Why? What do you do with a horse? You don't plow your field. Plowing a field is a deraisa. What do you do with a horse? You ride a horse. And that's not such a problem. Why? Because of our idea. Explains Rabbi Yochanan, that's because of Reb Nosson. What does Reb Nosson say? Chai Noises Atzmai. So if I'm on a horse, so I'm assisting the horse to carry me. I don't just plop my body on him. I sit in a special way and I help him carry me. Since I'm helping him carry me, therefore, that's not an Issa D'Oraisa, and therefore I'm allowed to sell a horse to a guy. And if you're going to tell me, no, Rabbanan never argued with Reb Nosson when it comes to an animal. They only argued with Reb Nosson on a human. Rabbanan also agreed to this concept. Right? Rabbanan agree that a human being is Chai Noises Atzmai. It's only when it comes to an animal that squirms, say Rabbanan, no Chai Noises Atzmai. But we're talking about a horse. Why are you allowed to sell a horse to a guy? Because a human being is on the horse, and a human being is Chai Noises Atzmai. Rabbanan agreed to that concept, l'chayra, according to what you just said. Says the Gemara, there's a horse that carries animals. It carries, so what is this? It's called falconry, and I have a picture here, not mamish, such a great picture, because I just wanted to this is a way of hunting, and what they do is, they put this giant bird, by the way, we had this in Chicago, you remember, Avi? I don't know if you know. Like, I had a falcon that lived next to our house, and would come down and grab the birds right out of our backyard, and eat them in our backyard. It was a whole thing. Crazy birds. They could fly, it's unbelievable. Anyway, you don't want to tire the bird out, so what do? You put the bird on a horse, and you let the horse bring him to the hunting spot, and then it takes off from there, so you save it a little energy. This is not mamashit. This is the guy doesn't want to get tired. Fine. But the idea is, they do it till today. There's people that still hunt like that. And it's the horse is for birds. Now, it doesn't say anywhere here to make a distinction between a horse for, it says you're allowed to sell a horse to a guy. It doesn't say, dafko horse that holds humans, but not a horse that carries birds. It doesn't say that. So I'm going to say that all horses are mutter. Otherwise, it should say in parentheses, asterisk, dafka such a horse, not since it doesn't say that. And this horse can carry only animals, and animals don't have Chai Noises Atzmai, according to Rabbanan. So it must be that it goes according to Reb Nosson that says everything has Chai Noises Atzmai, even birds, even animals. Is there such a thing? In Ika Devei, V'Yadon, these are hunters. They have such a horse. Or Rabbi Yochanan, Reb Nosson b'chafos. Now, this whole concept of Chai Noises Atzmai, however you want to understand it, logically and scientifically and all these things, is because the human helps out. But if the human is bound with a rope, then he's a dead weight. He's no longer helping with center of gravity, balance, all these things, and therefore he agrees that it's considered tiltal. You're carrying. I have a picture. This is just for illustration purposes. There's a zaftige guy. It's not even it. This is not even what the Gemara is talking about. A Parsi is this big balgaiva that wears these tight clothing and he's just not helping out. We once learned Parsim have bathrooms. They had really good bathrooms. So they were lazy guys, a bunch of lazy people, and they would take the horse from their bathroom to the back to the meal to the whatever. So for whatever reason, the Parsi is not helping out. Literally, that's what you said. He's not helping out. Come on, the kafsi dami. It's literally like he's bound. He sits like this. That if he's bound not, you just said, if he's bound not, then that's Rav Nosson. Rav Nosson is moided that if he's bound, it doesn't work. So why are you telling me it would work? Hassam, says the Gemara, Ramos Ruchu Denaglu. The guy is just a balgaiva. He could walk pretty well and he could help out the horse if he wants. He just pretends. He has his nose up in the air. He's a balgaiva, and I'll prove it to you. Du pardashko, the rotach malkelavei. There was this guy, one of these baligaiva, and the king was really mad at him. Viroet losa parsa bekari, and the guy ran a marathon. This zaftige guy ran a whole marathon. So don't tell me that he can't carry himself. He could carry himself. Why he could carry himself? He won the marathon and kept on running. People were like, what's going on? The king is after him. He has no problem running. It's just when he wants to act like a bagaiva, he's like a dead weight, but he's not. So if it's dead, whatever the dead thing, it's not assisting you at all, so you're chayiv, and it doesn't matter what the shear is, as long as you have the shear. It doesn't have to be a full dead person. A kizayis min ameis, a nadashim min a sheretz, whatever the shear is. It's interesting, right? We have Rabbi Yochanan and Shlokish here, but both brought down by different people. Rabbi brings Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yosef brings Rabbi Shlokish. Poitahari Rabbi Shimon, af b'moitzis hameis lekavroy. Tzagdalangam beis. Rabbi Shimon, the famous Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who's poiter everything in all of Shabbos, he says, and this is what Nachman was really saying, and this is the chiddush, that even if you're helping the dead person, because sometimes you're helping yourself, sometimes you're helping the object. And over here you're helping the object. So helping the object itself, not you for covenant, but the object. So if you're going to be cover the mace, l'chayra, there will be no logic to say that you're potter. Says Reb Shimon, I'm potter. Bury him. Now what about muktzah? So Rashi right away says later on also that we're talking about kikar v'tinoik. I got rid of the muktzah. I could get rid of muktzah by just putting a loaf of bread on it, and then I'm carrying, then it becomes secondary. Again, the concept of secondary, I'm carrying the bread. The dead person is secondary to the bread. Mamish, this is the sugya here. We didn't understand so well what is the kikar v'tinoik. Now we understand. Fine. If I took out a hoe, some shovel to dig with, the chayiv. Nu, shalom aleichem. I took out a shovel, I took out a sefer Torah, why should I be potter? What's going on here? Pshita. The honami melacha shein tzrich legufay, if that's considered a melacha shein tzrich legufay, if I'm taking out a shovel into Rosh Hashanah, that's considered not for me. So what is the case? Give me a good case. Says Gemara, perhaps I need the melacha to be productive and positive for me and for the object I'm taking out. For instance, to sharpen it, to put something on it, to add so that it could be better for digging. So now I'm doing melacha on the shovel itself. So it's two things. I'm making the shovel stronger, sharper, and I want to go dig. So why did I go into Rosh Hashanah? I went to Rosh Hashanah for two reasons. To make the shovel better and to make my life better by digging. So I did it for myself, I did it for the shovel. I would think that that's the only way you're chayiv. Mashmalon, that if I just take a shovel outside, I'm chayiv. Or I would think maybe Sefer Torah lahagia v'likers boy, to fix the Sefer Torah, make the Sefer Torah better, and also make my life better by reading the Sefer Torah. Kamash Malon, I don't need two things. One is enough. All right, says the Gemara, Ahu Shachva, there was a dead person, Ava, Bidroi Keres, he was in a city called Roi Keres. Shara Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak La'apuki Le'Karmelis. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak allowed them to take, says Rashi, it has to be that we're talking about there was a big bazaar for the dead person. There was a good reason, a nice good reason, not stam. It started to smell up from the sun, there was a fire coming, we had to get rid of him. Now, in addition, I don't want you to be Oivar Muktzah, so I'm going to put a kikar v'tinoik on the dead person. But he allowed to take it not into Rosh Hashanah, into Carmelis.
But is moving into the fire coming different than moving because you don't want it there?
Yeah.
There's a fire coming.
Yeah.
You're moving because you want to avoid the fire. It's not that you don't want it.
Yeah, but that's already a bezoin ames. That's like mamish. Like I'm doing, and it's also, it's more than bezoin ames. It's what do you call it? What is it called? Nachem, somebody? When you cover a brio is whatever, it's for yourself. Fine. Omar le Rabbi Yochanan achud demar berei the Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Kiman, Reb Shimon. He l'chayra holds like Reb Shimon. That's why he allowed to take it out into its malacha shein tzrich legufa. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm not doing something positive. I'm just getting rid of a problem. I don't want it to burn. Hey, Reb Shimon mechiyuv chatos isur derabanan mi'ikeh. He said that you're not chayv achatas. He never said go ahead and start moving dead people. Omalei holikim da'ilis be'at. You yourself, I swear, you yourself would move this dead person if you were there. Why? Even according to Rabbi Yehuda, it says malach shein tzricha legufa. You're chayiv. Over here it says mutter. The mika amina l'rishus rabbim. I never spoke about rishus rabbim. We're dealing with likarmelis gamina. Here we go. Go to this was looking. As we had in the whole sugya of toilet paper, when it comes to a person not being embarrassed or covered for the person, then Chachamim, they gave in. They said they were makel. They said, you know what, our Isser that we instituted for Klal Yisrael doesn't apply in a situation where a guy's really going to be embarrassed, in a situation where the dead person is going to get burned from a fire. All these things don't apply. Use my Carmelis. What? Oh, that was something else. That was Adam Bala Mamoinoi, Adam Bala Mesoi we had. Yeah. That's a little bit of a different svara. That's a different svara. No. Carmelis is a derabanan. So they relaxed their Isser derabanan on Carmelis. No. The loisasur. The Isser of loisasur, though you can't go from right to left, but chas v'shalom. Okay, let me. Good point. When there's the Issa Daraisa of Shatnez, you must drop your pants in public, and even if it means you're embarrassed. Whatever the Isser is. But when there's the Isser, the Rabbanon, like the toilet paper Isser, or the Isser of Carmelis to use a Rishus that's not defined as a Rishus Ram, Rishus Yachad, it's in between, or Chachamim were Machmer on it, they called it a Carmelis. Rabbanon relaxed their own Isser, and Memela, typically you have an Isser, Leisasur, Yomanus, you can't go Kechal Sheyirucha, even if they tell you on Yamin Smala, Small Yamin, you have to listen to them. Over here they relaxed. Over here they said you could break our rule, and it becomes the Isser Deraisa, not to listen to Chachamim. They relaxed their Isser Rabbanon so that there shouldn't be a problem of Kavod Abriyos. Not awesome.
Not only the Kavod Abriyos that we learned with the toilet paper was for a live person, was Kavod Abriyos. There was Kavod Abriyos of the dead person? Yeah.
No, I think it's the live person. I think it's the Kavod Abriyos of the live person, because you don't want your father to right. Yeah, it's a bizarre for you. It's a problem for you. I think so. That's how I learned it, but I might be mistaken. What do you guys think? If it's not a bizarre to them, it's not a bizarre to you. No, if a fire comes and burns a body, it's a terrible thing for the whole family, for the body itself. But we care about humans. We care about the live people. But he's dead. How's that covered a breeze to that person?
We have a concept of like
Covered a breeze for them. Okay, could be. I don't know. I could hear both ways. What? They do talk about it. Okay, fine. I can hear both ways. Kavod Abrius, that even a person is dead, but because he was alive, then you have to give cover to that thing that was alive. I hear. Yeah. Right. Masking. I just thought about a great story from the Chazon Ish, but we only have 5 minutes. We got to go weiter. Not awesome. Money tuma. So if a person has 2 white hairs in a beheres, tzaras, so it could cause him a lot of grief, right? He's a mitzvah. He has to do this. He has to do that. Leave, come, go, house. I have a great eitzah. Rip them out before you get to the car and pluck them. It's awesome. And if you have a se'es, and in the middle you have this live skin that's perfect, that's terrible. That's called a se'es. Have a great eitzah, burn it up, make it not live, make it terrible skin, and then Kohen is going to say it's tahar. Oiver beloy sasa. He's over. Itmar. He's really avoiding the whole problem because he has a big issue. He has an avera on his hand. He has to take care of it. He needs tshuva. Okay, fine. He's trying to avoid the whole thing. Itmar. Achas mishtayim chayev. What if he has 2 hairs? Takes 1 out. Chayev. Achas mishalosh. Now, 1 out of 2, of course he's chayev because he just ruined it. You need 2 hairs to be a mitzvah. Now he only has 1. Fine. But what if he has 3 hairs and he's down to 2, and 2 is enough to make him a mitzvah? Machlokes. Rav Nachman Omar Chayev, Rav Sheshes Omar Potter. Why Rav Nachman Omar Chayev Ahari Masov? Because what he did is enough now. The mishtak lo chad achriti. If 1 falls out by mistake, azlot mituma. He caused that there should be no tumah because of what he just did at a later stage. Rav Sheshes Omar Potter Hashtamias Hoyisel Tumah. What do you mean? When he took it out, it was perfectly tummy. He's still a mitzvah. Just because tomorrow, if he rubs it and something happens, another hair is going to fall out, and then he becomes not tummy. That's not his problem today. Or Rav Sheish ben Aminallah, how do I know this? This nan v'chein kizayis ben ameis v'kizayis ben anavela chayiv. Says only kizayis if you take out it from a dead person. Hochat kizayis potter, but a half a kizayis you are potter. But tani chatzi zayis chayiv my love. So there's a contradiction. Half a kizayis chayiv my love. Hodesani chayiv dapik chatzi zayis mikizayis. What happened was he had a whole kazayis and he ruined that kazayis. He took away the tumah from that kazayis by taking out a half, and therefore he was very effective. His haitzah was effective. It was effective to the point that he removed the tumah from the house. Until now, the house is tameh. By him taking a half a kazayis outdoors, he made his house tar. That's a positive act of malacha. He just created tahara in the house. That's why he's chayiv. He had 1.5 kazayis or more, and he took it a half kazayis. It wasn't effective at all. Rav Nachman, and so that's a great raya that if I take a 1 hair out of 3, it's nothing. Rav Nachman, it's not true. Rav Nachman is going to answer that it's not what happened over there with the half kazayis. He took out the reason why he's potter is because it had 0 effect at all. Now, of course, if he took out a whole kizayis, then he'd be chayiv. That I think Rashi Taisis, the Rishonim taught, because he just did something effective. If he has a whole zayis that's metama, he's chayiv. Says the Mishnah, hanoitel tziparav zubezu or bishinov. If you remove your fingernails, you have a bad habit, you bite your nails on Shabbos, or you remove your nails with another nail, v'chein sa'arai, or you pluck your hair with your hand, v'chein tzvama, your mustache, v'chein skanoi, v'chein hagoidelas, you braid your hair, v'chein hakechelas, you paint your eyes, v'chein hapekeses, you fix your hair, and the Gemara is going to explain why each one is chayiv. Rebbe Lezer mechayiv, v'chachamim oisrim mishum shvus. It's only the rabbanon shvus midrabbanon. Omar, Rebbe Elezer, machloikis biyad, or machloikis if you do this by hand, avol bikli, chayav. What if you do it with a scissors? You are chayiv. Now, Tosfos points out that according to Reb Shimon, you are potter, like you said before, because there's a malacha shein tzrich legufa. I don't need to cut my hair. I just don't want my hair. I don't want my hair over here. I just don't want it on my head. So that's not the malacha that we're talking about. It's malacha shein tzrich legufa. Tosfos says this sugi is going according to Rabbi Yehuda. The Mishnah is going according to Rabbi Yehuda. Pshita, zubizutnan. It says specifically, if the Mishnah wanted to tell us that you're chayiv with a kli, it should say you cut your nails with a nail clipper. But it says you cut your nails with your fingers. Obviously, we're not talking about a kli. Ma'od the same rabbanon bekli nami patri. No, obviously, I could say no. The Mishnah is going with a kli. So why does it mention this case of a guy doing it with his finger? The other side, that Rebbe Lezer says you chayiv even with your fingers. That's a huge chiddush. I go like this and I'm chayiv deraisa. I guess the first one is also Rebbe Lezer, not Rebbe Eliezer. Let's see. Yeah, Rebbe Lezer. Sorry, I made a mistake. I said Rebbe Eliezer because I looked in the Mishnah, but it was Rebbe Lezer explaining the Mishnah. Rebbe Lezer, machlokes la'atzmoi, aval chaveroi dirakol potter. You hear this? If you cut your friend's nails, you are potter. It's not the way to do it. Pshita. And by the way, in Hilchas Tefillah, it says in the Shulchan Aruch also something like this. If I recall, that again, don't quote me lamaisa, but if a woman Friday night, you have a guy do it, you have somebody else do it. I think it might even say there something about biting off the nails with the hand. Yeah, somebody else bites it for you. The guy has to bite it. Yeah, okay, fine. Ayin Sham, funny halacha. Go find that guy. You know what I'm saying? I have a Sabbath. Could you please bite my nail off? Yeah, what?
You have a guy. You have it's like old people fuse to bite your nails.
The mikveh guy. The mikveh guy. What's the profession? Yeah, it's fine. Bomer Belazar, erase, delete, cut. Machlokes la'atzmai avel chaver dirakol potter pshita tzipor of tnan. It says his nails. Ma'od the same Rebbe Lezer chaver nami mechayev. Rebbe Lezer says it should be you should be chayev for your friend. Why did the Mishnah use the lashon of same svar as we said before? The Rabbanon say that if you do it for yourself, you're still not chayev deraisa. Of course, if somebody else does it for you, you're potter midiraisa. But even if you do it yourself, you're potter midiraisa. V'chein tzaroi, you're here. Tana, hanoitem meloi piazug. If you take off your hair on Shabbos, chayev, v'kama, how much does it mean? The scissors, the top of the scissors? V'kama meloi piazug, I'll review the shtaim, 2 hairs. Ask the Gemara, how could that be? V'tanya, ulekarcha shtaim. If a person has a loss, somebody died, you're not allowed to cut the hair, you're not allowed to pull your hair out of anguish, out of tsar. And it says, so it's in the same Mishnah. So it says, you should not cut your hair on Shabbos. How much is that? 2. But for a mace, it's 2. It seems like it's 2 different things. For a mace, it's 2, but for Shabbos, it's a different amount. Otherwise, it should say, mace, karcha, shtayim. Doesn't say that. Ule karcha, however, for that person, it's 2. So you have to say, ema v'chein lekarcha, shtayim. In addition to Shabbos, and for that person's too. If you take how much is the scissors worth of hair? Shtein. Even 1. If you yank out your white hair because you want to look young, even 1. We had in, I forgot where it was, Baba Kama, one of the Babas, I think it's Baba Kama Basra, that the guy didn't want to hear, I forgot the exact sugya, he said, don't tell me chidushim now. Baba Kama, you remember that? Baba Kama, very good. Celsius, what daf? Psh, look at this, our tech guy knows Shas. You see what we're holding here? Baba Kama daf samach. So anyways, the Gemara over there was saying, real quick, huh? No. He knows his stuff. Mordechai Seltzer, Rabbi say, unbelievable. He's up there in the gallery screaming down from behind the computers, and he didn't look it up. So basically, the Gemara there says, I don't want to hear Svaris now, I don't want to hear Agata. So he says, Moshel Ma'adav Daima is like a guy that married a young woman and an older woman. And the older woman keeps on pulling out his black hair so he should look older and more distinguished. And the younger woman pulls out his white hairs, V'nimtza Kireach Mikan Mikan, and he has no beard at all. So but it's also to pull out a white hair if you want to look younger. You're not allowed to do it even in the weekday. Mishum shenemar lo yilbash gever simlas isha. Unbelievable. Rabbi say you don't chap. This is the tech guy. Can you imagine the guys that are learning down here? Bikim b'kol haTorah kula shas poiskim. All right, Nachman. Wow, it's 8:04 already. Hashem yirachem. Shem Aleis Mamakim V'Sichla Adino.